Hey watercolor wizards, Hajra here. You might have seen my last video, which used Brusho ink crystals to color my 10-year-old rabbit study. You might recall I found that Brushos are not light fast or waterproof after they dry. Okay, so I think the ink up here is dry. I just want to dump water on it and see if this bleeds after. Hey, it is bleeding. That's terrible. So basically it's not permanent ink. Let me try it up. Yeah, that's all completely dry, like it feels dry to the touch. Okay, so this is not a permanent ink, you guys. This is not like Dr. Phil Martin's. So I found them a poor choice for layers or lasting art. Today, I'll be doing an in-depth review of Brusho colors. So Brushos come in at least 3 different sets, and I bought the 12 color set. The colors in the set I got are Brilliant Red, Scarlet, Orange, Yellow, Lemon, Emerald Green, Leaf Green, Turquoise, Ultramarine, Purple, Dark Brown, and Black. I've punched holes in the soft plastic lids of these bottles with an awl so I can just sprinkle the powder out of the top. I'm going to use Strathmore art mount cards and envelopes to demo the Brushos, and I've also got a spray bottle of water handy. I'm going to start with spraying the paper envelope with water, then just sprinkle on some purple powder followed by some blue. The crystals disperse in really fun bursts of color. The burst effects that Brushos make are similar to the starburst effects that can be achieved by sprinkling salt in wet watercolor or by sanding watercolor pencil into a water wash. Here's another sprinkled effects card with different colors. The powder can be dropped onto dry paper and then water sprayed on afterward. Less or more spray will affect the size of the crystal color bleeds. Next, I'm going to sprinkle ultramarine blue on top of a plastic sheet and then mix the powder with a wet brush, and this makes some liquid ink that can just be applied with a brush or pen. This ink will actually re-wet once it dries, so it'll wipe right off the plastic or a palette, but that does also mean that it re-wets on watercolor paper, and layers of ink will just turn into mud. So to reduce some of the lifting, you can use a non-watercolor paper that doesn't have any sizing. So basically this product is best for fun and simple effects-based projects. Here I've added rubbing alcohol drops to blue for circular effects. If you mix a more concentrated powder-water combo, the resulting ink will be unsurprisingly thicker, like in this pan-mixed purple. More rubbing alcohol and more fun effects, sort of like jellyfish glimpsed in water. This effect can also be done with other inks or with watercolor paint as well. Now I have a clear crayon and I'm going to wax up the raised embossed border of this card. The wax areas will resist any ink or watercolor paint. So when I put in some liquid purple Brusho color, I get a nice textured white area that pops up wherever I put the wax down in the border. And because any art that I'm going to glue onto this card is going to sit snug right next to the border, it doesn't really matter that the border wasn't done evenly, as it's just going to get covered up. Okay, so for the next one, I'm going to spray water only at the top of the paper and then sprinkle in some green and turquoise Brusho powder. And now instead of stopping at these bursty effects, I'm going to tilt the envelope and spray more water so I get some fun loose drips down the whole paper. I really love these cool spattery runs and dribbles. Again, it's pretty obvious that this effect will work with regular old watercolor too, and you don't need to get Brusho for it. Okay, so the wax crayon is back, and now I'm going to draw some temporarily invisible random circles on the paper. After wetting the paper and sprinkling in some red Brusho powder, I can brush it all out and the circles will start to pop up. This is a simple technique, but very useful for highlights and also for more complex wax resist designs. Last, I decided to pull out my new glass pen that I bought and just dip it into that little pan of liquid purple ink that I'd mixed up earlier from the Brusho. And I can just draw and scribble with the Brusho color this way. This is the funnest one for me, and it was because I really loved this glass pen. It was a little strange to draw with a piece of glass, but the shape of it was super comfortable and it held a lot of ink before I had to redip it, and it also made a decently fine line. I'll have to do a separate video to demo this glass pen properly. It doesn't matter for a low maintenance glass pen tip, but a resoluble ink can really be a lifesaver for a metal dip pen nib because it's going to be a non-clogging medium and it'll make sure that your nib stays clean. So after I was done with my scribbling, I swirled the pen tip into my water cup and it just came out squeaky clean. And this is one of the positive reasons you might want a water-soluble ink. Using the brushes for abstract effects in this video was really fun. However, all of the effects I did with these could be done with watercolors or with Dr. Phil Martin's inks or Winsor Newton inks. And unlike the Brushos, the Phil St. Martin's and Winsor Newton inks are light fast and waterproof, and good watercolor paints are light fast and water resistant. So I don't know why I'd keep these messy Brusho powders that give you muddy layers because they re-wet after drying, plus they fade over time. And even if I want a non-clogging ink for my metal pen nibs, I can find plenty of light fast ones. So Brushos are good for fun, not so good for layers or lasting work. And all of the effects can be duplicated with other finer water media. Brushos might be your favorite product and you might love using them for the effects and stuff, but for what I want to use them for, they're sort of a wasted investment for me and I'm just going to be giving them away. Anyway, thanks for parking your brushes here. I hope you comment and subscribe to my YouTube channel and also to my Twitch channel. You can find out about my other social media in the links in the description below. And until next time, wishing you wonderful watercolor adventures.